Today, 2K dropped another player ratings update, and we're going to go through everything that changed. Starting off with LeBron James going +1 to a 96 overall. They dropped him to a 95 when he was going through a bit of a tough spot during the season. He's played better as of late, goes back up to a 96. Nothing crazy, just a light +1. DeMar DeRozan, with the Kings playing really well, is up to an 87. Crazy, the whole De'Aaron Fox trade rumors. Do y'all think he'll go to San Antonio? Kel'el Ware, +6 to an 80 overall. He's been playing some elite hoops, a bright spot with all the drama going on in Miami. The Heat got themselves a steal at the 15th overall pick. You don't see guys go up 6 in one update very often, but I feel like we've seen it a couple times with Jared McCain and Dalton Connect earlier this year. They went up a lot, so the 2024 rookies surprising some people, huh? But now we'll move on to some of the teams as a whole. For the Boston Celtics, JT and JB both go -1, Porzingis +1, Derek White down 1, and Sam Hauser up 1. The Celtics no longer look like that unbeatable team. That's my take. I think that there are teams that are capable of stopping them. Still an elite squad though. D'Lo getting back in his groove, up to an 80 overall, +1 for the Brooklyn Nets. Keon Johnson goes up 1, Noah Clowney -1, Jalen Wilson, Tyrese Martin both go down an overall apiece. Dariq Whitehead +1 and Reese Beekman +1. Yeah, with the Brooklyn Nets, they're just trying to lose basketball games. That's the bottom line. New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson up 1. Josh Hart also up 1. They look great. Interested to see what they'll do at the trade deadline. Precious Achiuwa up 1. Cam Payne also goes up 1. And Landry Shamet -1. He hasn't been too great of a pickup for New York. Over in Philadelphia, Tyrese Maxey +1. He had that crazy game against the Lakers. He was going right at Bronny. Paul George +1 to an 85. Oubre up 1 to an 80. Eric Gordon +2 to a 75 overall. Reggie Jackson -1. Justin Edwards goes +4 and Adem Bona +3 to a 72. They've had a lot of injuries, so guys have had to step up. For the Raptors, Scotty Barnes up to an 87 overall. He goes +2. RJ Barrett still having a good season, but goes -1. Chris Boucher and Bruce Brown go +1, which is a welcome sight for Toronto because I think they're trying to trade both those guys, so maybe they can get a little more value. Jacoby Walter -1 to a 74, and Jamal Sheed +2 to a 73. Moving on to the Central Division, the Chicago Bulls. Speaking of trade rumors, they got a lot of guys who they're looking to move. Levine and Vucci Man go +1. Zach up to an 87 overall, the highest we've seen him in a minute. And Vooch, same thing, highest we've seen him probably since Orlando or when he first got to Chicago. Giddey -1. Zoe getting back in his group +1 to a 78. I wonder why they paid Patrick Williams all that money. He goes -1 to a 76. Hey, congrats on the bag though, Pat Will. Buzelis +1 to a 74. Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry go -1. For the Cavs, one of the best backup PGs in the league, and Ty Jerome goes +1 to an 82. Karis LeVert -1. He is now an 80. George Niang +1. Isaac Okoro -1. Dean Wade also goes down, and Craig Porter Jr. goes up 1. Over in Detroit, Cade Cunningham, your newest member of the 90 overall club, well-deserved, playing at an all-NBA level, and the Pistons are actually relevant. Jalen Duren up 1, Tim Hardaway Jr. +2, Asar Thompson +1. I'm curious to see what's up with the men in this update, and Marcus Sasser also goes up 1. For the Indiana Pacers, Miles Turner, Obi Toppin go down an overall apiece. Seeing Turner in some trade rumors, and Thomas Bryant +2. Pacers have been rolling since the calendar year turned to 2025. They've been hooping. Damian Lillard, speaking of hooping, up to a 92 overall, and Darvin Ham's favorite, Taurean Prince, +2 to a 76. Now we move on to the Southeast Division, where Trae Young goes -2 to a 90 overall. Hawks also got some other bad news. Jalen Johnson will be out for the season. Double O +1 to an 83. D Hunt -2 to an 81. Bogdanovich, who's been in some trade rumors, -1 to a 78. 78. Gary Bird, Garrison Matthews, -1 to a 76. Vic goes +3. David Roddy +1. And Dominic Barlow +1 as well. LaMelo Ball +1 to a 90 overall. Seeing him enter the 90 overall club is cool. However, he is unfortunately injured again. Mark Williams +2 to an 84. He is great when he's available. Hornets just always have so many injury problems, and they're just not that great of a basketball team. But yeah, they've been having another rough season. Miles Bridges +1. Josh Okogie goes up 1. So does Nick Smith Jr. And Micic -1 to a 73. We already talked about Kel'el Ware. He goes up to an 80 overall. Jaime Jaquez +1 to a 78. Jovic +2 to a 77. And Alec Burks -1. He is now a 75 overall. For the Orlando Magic, Paolo just got back, but he goes down to an 89. Anthony Black +1 to a 79. Cole Anthony +2. And Caleb Houston -1. For Washington, Valanciunas +1 to an 83. A guy who probably get moved by the trade deadline, I'd assume. Same thing with Kuzma. He does not want to be there at all. And as a result, his play's been suffering. -1 to an 80. Alex Sarr -1 to an 80 as well. Kaishan George up 2 to a 76. Bub Carrington +1 to a 76. And Patrick Baldwin Jr., Warriors legend, +1 to a 72. Northwest Brody! He is up to an 83 overall. Sorry, Jamal. Yeah, you got a +1. That's cool. Brody is an 83. We love to see it. Keep running up the numbers, Russ. I'd love to see you at an 84, 85. Christian Brown +2 to an 82 overall. Julian Strawther -1 to a 75. And Jalen Pickett +1 to a 71. Ant-Man goes up in overall. He is now a 93. Rudy Gobert +1 to an 85. Jaden McDaniels +2. He is now an 82 overall. Naz Reid +1 to an 81. Rob Dillingham finally getting some love in the rotation, getting a few minutes there. He goes +2 to a 76. Josh Minot -1 to a 73. For the Thunder, Case and Wallace. They just got all the role players, bro. It's unfair. He goes +2 to a 79. So does Isaiah Joe. Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, +1 to a 77. Kenny Hustle -1 down to a 77. Brandon Carlson +3. He is now a 70 overall. For the Blazers, Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant go +1. Two trade candidates for the team. Shaden Sharp -1 to an 80. Scoot Henderson starting to put things together a little bit, up to a 79. Delano Banton +1 to a 76. Utah, Colin Sexton, Walker Kessler, two potential trade candidates as well. Although it seems more likely that Sexton would get traded, they both go +1 to an 83. Keontae George -1 to a 78. Drew Eubanks +1 to a 77. Bryce Sensabaugh -1 to a 77. Isaiah Collier +4 to a 74 overall. Svi Mikhailuk +1 to a 70. And Cody Williams -1 to a 70. Moving on to the Pacific Division. Wiggs +1 to an 82. I'm not going to lie. I'm a Warriors fan. I'm a little surprised Curry didn't go down with his struggles lately. DS -1. Yeah, he's been struggling. He's had a few decent games as of late though. +1 for GP2 and B Pods. Buddy Hield also goes up 1. So does Moses Moody. They're both 77s. Gui Santos up 3. He's been a bright spot for the Dubs this year. Lindy Waters III -1. Quentin Post has been a solid piece for the Warriors, +3 to a 71. And Pat Spencer goes up 1. Now the Clippers. I feel like we're hating on Kawhi Leonard. He just got back. He's had some efficient performances. I don't understand why we're immediately dropping his overall. Whatever, man. -2 to a 90. Harden in the midst of a good season. They're announcing the All-Star reserves here soon. It might be tonight. Don't quote me on that, but I'm curious to see if he makes it. Norm Powell +2 to an 86. Zoo +1 to an 86. Chris Dunn -1 to a 76. Mo Bamba up 1. Jordan Miller down 1. And Kobe Brown +1. For the Lakers, we already talked about LeBron going up 1. AD also goes up 1. So does Rui Hachimura. DFS -1 to a 76. And Gabe Vincent +1 to a 74. For Phoenix, Nick Richards has been awesome since he got there. He's up to an 80 overall +2. Tyus Jones -1. Grayson Allen +1. Ryan Dunn goes +1. And Royce O'Neal -1. For the Sacramento Kings, we talked about DeMar D. Fox, who apparently might want out, -1 to an 88. Malik Monk +1 to an 83. Keegan Murray goes up 1 to an 80. Keon Ellis +2 to a 79. And Trey Lyles -1. He is now a 74 overall. For the Dallas Mavericks, Daniel Gafford having a great season. He goes up 1 to an 84 overall. Spencer Dinwiddie +2 to a 79 overall. Najee Marshall -1. Klay Thompson also goes down 1. 78 for Klay is crazy, bro. Jaden Hardy +1 to a 75. Omax Prosper +1 to a 73. Amen Thompson! Hold on, I saw the +3 over there. He's up to an 86 overall. Golly! Jalen Green also up to an 86. He goes +2. Freddie V +1 to an 83. Rockets are rolling right now. Cam Whitmore +1. Steven Adams +1. Aaron Holiday -1. For the Grizz, John Morant goes up 1 to a 92 overall. Desmond Bane +1 to an 85. And Luke Kennard +2. He is now a 78 overall. Moving on to the Pels. Z up to an 88. When he's healthy, he's a great basketball player. Trey Murphy +3 to an 85. Brandon Boston -1. Daniel Tice +3. Jordan Hawkins up 1, along with Jeremiah Robinson Earl and Javonte Green. For the Spurs, Wemby goes down 1. He's still a 94. Devin Vassell +1. Stephon Castle and HB +2. They're both 80 overalls. Charles Bassey up 1 and Julian Champagnie down 2. So that will wrap up our roster breakdown for the newest update. Let me know your all's thoughts on everything. Shout out to Amen Thompson, Khalil Ware. If you enjoyed this, I'd really appreciate it if you left a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.